Hare Krishna devotees, welcome you all for today's session. We'll start with the prayers. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are reading Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2. So far we have covered up to text number 13. So in the last class we covered text number 12 and text number 13. So text number 12 was Natve Baham Jatunasam Natvam Neme Janadhipaha Nachaiva Na Bhavishyamaha. Okay.
Hear you, Prabhu.
You can you hear me?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I am able to hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So mic is working fine. Okay. So mic is working fine. So those who are not able to hear, maybe something at your end. So please we can get it corrected. So in the last class we saw two shlokas, very important shlokas. Shloka number 12, where Krishna tells about that we are eternal. We were eternal in the past. Now we are there, and in the future also we are going to exist. We existed in the past. We are existing now, and in future also we are going to exist. So that is the eternity of the soul. And how the soul changes the body, that is also the important shloka, Dehi nosmin yatha dehe. And we saw the translation and purport of that. So continuing from there, today we will see shloka number 14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadah agamapayino nityas tam stitikshasva bharata. So this is also one of the very important shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Matra sparsha. So matra means indriyas or senses. So matra sparsha. Matra sparsha means by contact of senses with the sense objects. So when the senses come in contact with the sense object, matra sparshastu kaunteya. So kaunteya, name of Arjuna, O son of Kunti. Shita ushna sukha dukkha daha. So the soul experiences by the contact of senses with its objects. It experiences Shita, Ushna. It experiences heat and cold. And Sukha, Dukkha. It experiences happiness and distress. And this is through the body, material senses. So this is material distress, material happiness by contact with the senses. Through the body, the soul experiences these things. But these things are temporary. Agama apayinaha. So they come and they go. And they are anitya. That means they are temporary. So here Krishna is telling that tam stitikshasva bharata. One has to learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So here Krishna is advising Arjuna that this happiness and miseries, heat and cold, that means dualities in life. So they will come and go. And they are temporary. And they come because of sense perception. And one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So translation, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. So first thing is that they are not permanent, but it feels like, suppose we are in some distress situation, it feels like forever it is going to be like this. Or sometimes if you are in a happy situation, we may think that forever we are going to be in that happy situation. But both of them are not permanent. Both of them will stay for some time and it will go. If you are happy for some time, then that happiness will go and we may experience misery. And if misery is there, that also will not be forever. That will go and again we will experience some happiness. So both happiness and misery, they are non-permanent. They appear and they disappear. And example is given like winter and summer seasons. So in winter, we may feel that, oh, it is too cold, too cold. But that winter will not last forever. As the time comes, the winter will change into summer. And summer also will not be there forever. So again, summer will change into some other season. It may change into rainy season. So this change of different situations, it keeps happening and it is temporary. These appear and they disappear. And they arise from sense perception. So because we are in this material world, we have to experience these dualities. So spiritual world is non-dual. So there are no miseries there. There is only blissful experience. But because we are into the material world, so we have to experience both happiness and distress. And both are non-permanent. Both are temporary. And one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So Krishna is advising Arjuna, O Scion of Bharata, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So here the advice is given for tolerance. So we should develop tolerance. We should be able to tolerate these happiness and distress or heat and cold and not become disturbed when they come. So purport. In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearance and disappearance of happiness and distress. So specifically it is said here, purport, Prabhupada is mentioning, when we are discharging our duty. So when we are doing our duty, especially the spiritual duties like getting up early in the morning, chanting uh, our rounds, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or in terms of eating, we are supposed to eat only prasadam. So these are all our spiritual duties, spiritual obligations, which we must follow. And sometimes when we are doing that, so we may experience some kind of discomforts, especially suppose you have to get up early in the morning for attending Mangalarti. You have to get up early in the morning to chant your rounds. So it may not be very pleasing. You may be feeling still sleepy. But still, when we are discharging our duty, we should learn to tolerate this distressful condition. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magha, January, February. So here, Prabhupada is giving the example. The Vedic injunction is that one has to get up early in the morning and take his bath. Now, there are months in a year, especially January and February. It's called Magha Masa, and that is the coldest time of the year. But still, one who is following the Vedic principles, they don't hesitate. They still get up early in the morning and take the bath. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. And Prabhupada is giving one more example. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the month of May and June. So May and June are the hottest part of the summer season. So because it is very hot, the woman will not say that I'm not going to cook. Let us go and eat something outside or order something. So still they will do their cooking because the duty is more important than the distressful condition. Despite these kind of situations, one must continue doing their duties. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight in the religious principle, to fight is the religious principle of the Kshatriyas. And although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. So now coming to Arjuna, because he was a Kshatriya, for a Kshatriya, it is his duty is to fight for the religious principles. And that is his dharma also. He has to fight for dharma, and fighting itself is his dharma. Fighting for dharma is his dharma for a Kshatriya. And sometimes on the opposite side, there may be friends, there may be relatives, own people. But still, for the sake of uh, religious principles, one cannot deviate from his duty. One has to fight, especially the Kshatriyas. because fighting for the right cause is their dharma, is their religious principle. They cannot deviate from their prescribed duty, although it may be very distressful. It may be very distressful to kill one's own friend or relative when they are on the wrong side. So one has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge. So what will be the outcome if one performs his duty without caring for the um, happiness or distress? One just goes on performing his or her duties enjoined in the scriptures. And the result will be they come to the platform of knowledge. They gain this transcendental knowledge by taking these austerities. And by knowledge and devotion only one can liberate himself from the clutches of Maya. So one has to understand our current situation is that we are under the illusion thinking that I am this body, and all our activities are centered around this illusion that I am this body and I am working only for the bodily maintenance, bodily pleasures, and extension of this body as friends, relatives, society, country, humanity. So these are all based on the fundamental illusion that I am this body. So if one has to come out of this illusion and get liberated, then one must come to the platform of this transcendental knowledge. So this platform of transcendental knowledge, one can come to this stage by executing one's prescribed duties as given in the scriptures. Specifically in our case, we follow the Bhakti Yoga process, sadhana bhakti, that is regulated way we perform devotional service to Krishna. So despite any kind of discomfort, if we go on doing our duties, our spiritual duties, very soon we will come to this platform of knowledge. And with that, we can get liberated. We can come out of this illusion and we can understand, we can realize what is soul. The two different names of address given to Arjuna are also significant. So here Arjuna is addressed as Kaunteya and Bharata. To address him as Kaunteya signifies his great blood relations from his mother's side. So Kaunteya means son of Kunti, is called Kaunteya. So from the mother's side, he is addressed as Kaunteya. And to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. So Bharata. So this name Bharata is who is a descendant of King Bharata. So formerly there was a great king called as Bharat. Not the Bharat of Ramayana. There was another king, son of Rishabhadeva. His name was also Bharat. And he ruled this planet Earth. And after him, the whole planet came to be known as Bharatavarsha. And now only this particular tract of land is known as Bharatvarsha. Earlier it was the whole planet, just like we have the history just some 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, 1947. Before that, even the Pakistan, Bangladesh, they all together were called as Bharat. But partition happened and that became different nations. So if you go back like that, during Mahabharata time, even up to Kandahar, Afghanistan, all those places were known as Bharatvarsha. There is description, the Gandhari. So she came from Kandhar, Gandhar Desh, which is now known as Kandhar. So if you go back like this in time, so at some point of time, the whole earth was known as Bharatavarsha, and it was named after the king Bharata. Similarly, it is also known as Prithvi because of one more king called Pruthu. Like that, there are different names for this planet. It is also known as Ilavati Varsha. So here, because the Pandavas and Kauravas, they were descendant from this king Bharat. So they were also called as Bharata or descendants of Bharat. So here Arjuna is addressed as Bharata, and he is addressed as Kaunteya. So both from his mother's side and his father's side, he is having a great lineage. And someone who is belonging to such a great family, it does not suit him to deviate from his duty, because somebody who is born in such great families, they also have a lot of responsibilities. They cannot just deviate like ordinary men from their duties. So Krishna is reminding Arjuna that you have a great lineage and you must execute your duty without caring for happiness or distress. So from the both sides, he is supposed to have a great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting. So Arjuna cannot avoid fighting, even from this point of view that he belongs to great heritage, both from the mother side and father side. And also one should tolerate these miseries in the discharge of one's duty for a higher realization of transcendental knowledge. Examples were given of a man taking bath even during cold season, or a woman working in the kitchen even during the hot season. Next shloka number 15. Yam hi na vethayante ete purusham purusharshabha sama dukkha sukham dhiram saha amritatvaya kalpate. So here Krishna is telling what will be the result of such discharge of duty without caring for happiness and distress. So yam hi na vethayante ete purusham purusharshabha. So here Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Purusharshabha, the best among the men. And he's telling that such a person who is not disturbed by this kind of misery or happiness and remains steady in both. Yam hi na vethayante ete purusham purusharshabha samas dukkha sukham dhiram. So one who remains equipoised in both dukkha and sukha, both happiness and misery. Such a person is dhira. So dhira means one who is tolerant, one who is patient, one who is not disturbed. Saha amritatvaya kalpate. So he attains amritatva, or he attains liberation, or he is eligible to get liberated. So one who is not disturbed by happiness and distress, such a person is eligible for liberation. Translation: O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. So one must be steady in both situations, either it is happiness or distress, and continue discharging one's duties, spiritual duties. Then such a person is eligible for liberation. Purport: anyone who is steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness is certainly a person eligible for liberation. So somebody who is very determined that I must make spiritual progress, and because of that he is steady in his practices, because of his strong determination that I must make progress in spiritual life and I must get spiritual realization. And because of this determination, if he is steady in his practices, and how that is known, he is able to tolerate this both distress and happiness and still continue with his duties. So that will be the symptoms of a person who is steady in his determination for spiritual progress. Such a person becomes eligible for liberation. So here Prabhupada is giving the example of sannyasa. In the Varnashrama institution, the fourth stage of life, namely the renounced order or sannyasa, is a painstaking situation. So Varnashrama Dharma, it has got 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. So the 4 Ashramas are Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. So Sannyasa is considered as the 4th order and the highest order among the 4. And that stage, it will be not very comfortable because the sannyasi has to live a very simple life, austere life. And especially in the beginning, when someone takes sannyas, switching from grahastha to vanaprastha to sannyasa, suddenly there may be a lot of difficult situation to adopt to that stage. And even regularly also, the sannyasi's life is of austerity, minimum sense gratification just for maintaining the body, and whole time engaged in Krishna's service, very less comforts for the body. So that is the sannyasi's life, completely dedicated for service of Krishna. So in that stage, it may be very painstaking. But one who is serious about making his life perfect surely adopts the sannyasa order of life in spite of all difficulties. So the general progression is brahmachari, and sometimes from brahmachari they directly go to sannyasa without entering to grahastha, and sometimes from brahmachari they go to grahastha ashrama, then vanaprastha ashrama, and then they may take sannyasa ashrama. So those who are serious about making the life perfect, they surely adopt this sannyasa order of life, although it may be very difficult. The difficulties usually arise from having to sever family relationships to give up the connection of wife and children. Because generally people are attached to the family members, especially wife and children, and it may be very difficult to sever those relationship family and adopt the sannyasa order of life. But if anyone is able to tolerate such difficulties, surely his path to spiritual realization is complete. So if somebody can give up those uh, attachments and adopt the renounced order of life, sannyasa life, and execute all the duties in the sannyasa order, uh, then his spiritual realization path is considered as complete. Similarly, in Arjuna's discharge of duties as a Kshatriya, he is advised to persevere, even if it is difficult to fight with his family members or similarly beloved persons. So, as a person who is serious for self realization, uh, takes up this sannyas order of life. Similarly, Arjuna also, being a Kshatriya, that is also one of the Varnas in the Varnashrama. Whichever Varna one is, for that Varna, for that Vashrama, what are the prescribed duties one must do. And one should not be deviating because of if the discharge of the duty becomes difficult, one should not deviate. So without deviating, if one performs his duty, then his path for spiritual realization, it becomes complete. So as for a sannyasi, to sever family relationship is very difficult. Similarly, in the case of Arjuna, although it may be very difficult for him to fight with his family members, but still, as a Kshatriya, in a religious fight, he must discharge his duties without being deviated. Prabhupada is giving the example of Lord Chaitanya also, that Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at the age of 24, and his dependents, young wife as well as old mother, had no one else to look after them. Yet for a higher cause, he took sannyas and was steady in the discharge of higher duties. This is the way of achieving liberation from material bondage. So although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was just 24 years, so very young, and he had his dependents, his wife and his mother. His father had already passed away. But still, for the higher cause, he took up sannyasa and he was steady in the discharge of his higher duties. And that is the way of achieving liberation from material bondage. So here, one more thing to clarify is that as we go in the third chapter, we see that uh, it is not recommended abruptly to take sannyas. Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, one has to practice spiritual life being at home and practice sense control. Abruptly, if one takes up such sannyas order of life, then he will not be able to follow all the rules and regulations because he has not practiced in the other ashram, grahastha ashram or brahmacharya ashram or vanaprastha. If those things are not properly practiced, the sense control, then suddenly sentimentally if takes sannyas, he will not be able to follow the rules of sannyas. So first thing is one has to purify in whichever ashrama he is by executing the principles of devotional service. Then it becomes as good as sannyasa. So real sannyasa is giving up the and mentality to enjoy and taking things as much as required for maintaining the soul and body together and engaging always in Krishna's service. That is real sannyasa. So this external sannyasa is taken for the purpose of preaching. And in Kali Yuga, sannyasa is forbidden, but only for the sake of preaching. Acharyas, they take sannyas or sometimes give sannyas to disciples. So this shloka was about one who can tolerate these both happiness and distress and remain steady in both. So he becomes eligible for liberation. So the next shloka, Krishna says, Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. Ubhayoropi drishtontas anayos tvanayos tattvadarshivih. So here Krishna is telling about Sat and Asat. So what is Sat? For that, there is no destruction. So the Sat never gets destroyed. So Sat means spiritual. The soul, it never gets destroyed. And Asat, it can never endure. Asat means material things. So they always get destroyed. They may stay for some time, but over a period of time, they get destroyed. So na asataha vidyate bhavo. So asata, it cannot endure forever. The material things, they get destroyed. And na abhavaha vidyate sataha. And sat or spirit, it always exists. It endures forever. And who is telling this? Ubhayorapi drushtontwas tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. So the tattvadarshis, the seers of the truth. So those who have realized truth, it is their opinion that Sat, it always endures, and Asat, it never stays forever, it gets destroyed. Or the material things, material object, they cannot exist forever. Translation: those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent there is no endurance. So non-existent means asat or matter. It cannot endure forever. And of the existent, so existence means sat or spirit, there is no cessation. So it always exists. This seers have concluded by studying the nature of both. So those who are tattvadarshis, the seers, they have given this conclusion after studying the nature of both. Simply they are not telling. So they have studied the nature of both spirit and matter. And they are concluding that the spirit always exists and matter cannot exist forever. Just like this body is made of metal elements. So it cannot exist forever. It gets destroyed. And the soul, which is inside the body, which is the real person, because it is spiritual, it exists forever. But there is no endurance of the changing body. So the changing body does not endure. It will get destroyed at some point of time. That the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by modern medical science. So even the modern science, they also say that the body is made of cells, each organ is made of cells. And these cells are every day, so many cells are dying and new cells are being formed. So in 7 years time, in 7 years, a person's all old cells would have been replaced by the new cells. Suppose my skin is there, or my flesh is there, or inside any organ is there, or bones are there. They are made of different cells. And every day, some cells are dying and new cells are replacing the older cells. So what cells were there yesterday, today they are not there. So like that, go on every day, the old cells are dying and new cells are coming. So in 7 years, none of the cells that existed 7 years back will be there. It will all be new cells only. So even by modern science, one can see that body is constantly undergoing change. Thus, growth and old age are taking place in the body. So because the cells are decaying and change of cells are happening, the body also appears to grow and gradually it appears to get old. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. So not only our physical body is changing, our subtle body also is changing. So subtle body consists of mind, intelligence, and ego. So even the mind also keeps on changing. Just like if you see a small boy, so he behaves differently. He behaves very childish because his mind is like a child's mind. As the body is growing, not only the gross body is growing, even the subtle body also changes. So even the subtle body, from childhood body, it becomes a boyhood body. So that time, that person starts behaving like a boy. And later on, when the body becomes youth, even his subtle body has also changed to a youth body. So then his way of speaking, way of behaving also changes. Sometimes we see somebody may have a disease, although they have grown old, but mentally they have not grown. So they'll be still behaving like children only. So some diseases will be there, mental diseases like that. So not only this gross body is changing, even the subtle body is also changing. Subtle body, which is made of mind, intelligence, and ego. Even our intelligence also keeps changing. So when we were small, we didn't know many things. As we go on learning different things, so we acquire different types of intelligences, mathematical intelligence, or how to deal with this world, or somebody learns music or some arts. So their intelligence also changing along with this body. And similarly, our ego also keeps changing. So I may say that I belong to this country and I may move from one place to another place. Then I say I belong to this national or this party, that party. So this is how we identify ourselves, where we belong or who am I. So this also keeps changing. So this gross and subtle body, they both they are changing. But the soul, which is inside this body, who is the experiencer and who is desiring everything, and who is the decision maker, so that soul is not changing, it remains as it is. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and spirit. So this is the distinction between what is matter, what is spirit. So spirit does not undergo change, matter undergoes change. By nature, the body is ever changing and the soul is eternal. This conclusion is established by all classes of seers of the truth, both impersonalist and personalist. So two classes of transcendentalists. So one class is impersonalist and another class is personalist, or the devotees. And impersonalist are they are called Mayavadis or Brahmavadis. So both of them, they agree that the soul is permanent and the body is undergoing constant change. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that Vishnu and his abode all have self-illuminated spiritual existence. Jyotim Shi Vishnur Bhavanani Vishnuhu. The word existent and non-existent, or Sat and Asat, refer only to the spirit and matter. That is the version of all seers of the truth. So this Sat, this refers to the spiritual world and the spiritual personalities, the living entities, and the Vishnu forms in the spiritual world. So they exist always. For them, there is no destruction. And in this material world, the material manifestation, whatever we see, all the skies, planets, stars, everything we see within our experience, and our bodies, including our bodies and all the objects made from the material substance. So they are all non-existent, or they are temporary. With the time, everything gets destroyed. This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. So this is the beginning of instruction by Krishna to all living entity. So it is not only Krishna is telling to Arjuna. Through Arjuna, Krishna is telling to all of us. And our current situation is same as Arjuna's situation, where he was bewildered by the modes of material nature. So we are also do not have the knowledge of Krishna, knowledge of the spiritual world, knowledge of about ourselves, who we are. So we are influenced by the mode of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this ignorance has to be removed, means we must know who am I and what is my relationship with God, and uh, and what are my duties based on that relationship. So this involves means this knowledge removes the ignorance of the soul. So that is re-establishing our relationship with Krishna. So when our relationship with Krishna is re-established, that is our stage of knowledge. So now, because we have forgotten how we are connected with Krishna, therefore we are thinking that we are the product of this material nature. This body is made of matter, so we are thinking that I am also a product of matter. But the truth is, we all are connected with Krishna. We all have got a relationship with Krishna. So, re-establishment of this relationship removes the ignorance of the soul. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself. The difference between oneself and the Supreme being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole. So if you want to know God, by studying ourselves also we can understand God, because we are part and parcel of God. Just like Prabhupada gives example, the particle of gold and the gold mine, or a drop of water in the ocean or the full ocean. So if you study one drop of ocean, you will find the same quality in the entire ocean. Or if you study one particle of gold, entire gold mine also will have the same characteristics. So if we study the individual soul, so we can understand the quality of the Supreme Soul. In the Vedanta Sutras as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. So Vedanta Sutra says Athato, Janmadhyasya Yataha, means creation, maintenance and destruction, everything is happening from the absolute truth. Janma Adi Asya Yataha. And Srimad Bhagavatam also begins from the same sutra, Janmadhyasya Yato Anvayad Itaratascha Avignaswarat. So that is the first shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the explanation of the Vedanta Sutras. So everywhere it is accepted that the Supreme Absolute Truth is the source of everything. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. So what all is emanating from the Supreme? Both spirit and matter, both are emanating from the absolute truth, the Paramasatya. So just like Prabhupada gives example, in our body, we have got our hands, legs, and we also got hairs and nails. So there is consciousness everywhere in the body, but in hairs and nails, you don't feel. Even if somebody cuts your hair, you will not feel the pain. Or if you cut your nail, you will not feel the pain. Because there is no consciousness in those, although they belong to our own body. So I have got some parts my body which is having consciousness. If I touch or cut, I feel the pain, and some parts which are not having consciousness. So in the same way, Prabhupada gives example that Krishna has got a spiritual energy and material energy. So material energy, it is divide of consciousness. This earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. So these are material elements, and there is no consciousness in these elements. So this is material energy, and the another energy of Krishna is the living entities. So that is spiritual energy, and the difference is the spiritual energy, they have got consciousness, they have got living symptoms, but both are emanating from Krishna only. So he is the source of everything. So God must be the source of everything. If something has got source other than God, then something exists other than God. So God must be the controller of everything. Everything must be coming from him. So both matter and spirit, they are emanating from the one supreme truth. Although there is no difference between, okay, such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature. So we, the living entities, the soul, we belong to the superior nature of God, not the inferior nature, which is matter, as it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. In 7th chapter, we will see about this, which we just now discussed. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the supreme, and the energy or nature is accepted as the subordinate. So energy and energetic, there is no difference, but still the energetic is superior, because the energy is emanating from the energetic. Just like one person is there, very rich man, and he has got a lot of property, lot of money. But everything is controlled by him, just by his one signature. He can just spend a lot of money, withdraw so much money from the bank, or transfer property from one person to another person. So energetic is superior to the energy, because the energy belongs to the energetic, and energetic has full control over the energy. And Krishna is the energetic, and he has got two energies. One is spiritual energy, another is material energy. So we belong to the spiritual energy, and all these material elements, they belong to the material energy, and Krishna is the controller of both. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord. So energy is always subordinate to the energetic, and we are always subordinate to Krishna, as in the case of the master and the servant, or the teacher and the taught. Just like how a servant is subordinate to the master, or a student is subordinate to the teacher, in the same way, the living entities, they are subordinate to Krishna. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance. So it is very, very clear, very, very easy, very, very simple to understand these things. But if somebody is under the spell of ignorance, if he is in the mode of ignorance or avidya, or if he is under the illusion, it is impossible to understand this clear, simple knowledge. And to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is spoken to drive away this ignorance, for the enlightenment of all living entities of all times. So for all living entity of all times, not only for Dwapara Yuga, when Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna, even the Kali Yuga, or future Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, any time and any places also, not only India. Bhagavad Gita is applicable to the whole earth, not only this earth, even other planets. We see in the 4th chapter that Krishna says he spoke long, long ago this Bhagavad Gita on sun planet to sun god. So this Bhagavad Gita is applicable all times, in all places, to all persons. So we will conclude here today's session. So we covered 3 shlokas and their meaning and purport. So we saw that one has to tolerate both miseries and happiness, and such a person is eligible for liberation, and soul is always eternal, and matter always is temporary, and it gets destroyed. So that is the conclusion of the seers of the truth, or the Tattvadarshis. So if there are any questions, we'll take up questions, or you can also summarize any points which you might have noted in today's session.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhu, just I joined little late where we
Okay.
were speaking about a person, getting into the brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa.
Yeah.
So those who are uh, those who are making life perfect, although there is difficulty, then they wanted to get into the higher form of, to adopt higher spiritual renunciation. They will adopt the sannyasa. Although if there are any difficulties, no matter what, they will be uh, adopting this sannyasa for
Yeah. What is the question?
higher spiritual knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the question?
No, this was just what I heard. I just said
Okay.
about this.
Okay. You are telling the no.
Summarizing.
Okay. Okay. Today's thing, understanding of today's class.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. Anybody would like to add any other points? Yeah.
Prabhupada also gave an example of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
Yes.
who
Yes.
took sannyasa at the age of 24 years.
Yes.
Though he had a dependent, like his mother and wife were dependent on
Yes.
him. though I mean, even then, for a higher cause, he has taken the sannyasa at that age. So
Yes.
that is one wanted to add, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So anybody would like to add anything? So here I know some people may not be familiar. Malarkodi, I know. Mamata Yal. Hare Krishna Mataji. I just
Hare
wanted
Krishna,
to know
Prabhu.
who are attending the classes. So have we met any time? Some of other devotees, I know them, Nayak, Prabhu, Nidhi Mataji, Nirmala Mataji. You come to temple regularly?
Yes, Prabhu. I am regular for Vaikunta Hill, Prabhu.
Okay, okay. You go to Vaikunta Hill. Okay. And Vidya? Your mic is muted. Vidya Mataji. Okay. Who is AC? AC. Name is written as AC.
Yes, Prabhuji, Vidya.
Okay. So who is this Vidya? Can you turn on video so that I can see who is, that I can get familiar with who are attending the classes, if possible. Even Mamata also.
ये ऐसे ठीक लग रहा है.
Others I know.
सर अभी स्नान करके आया मैं.
Okay, okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. आप कहाँ से हैं?
मैं यूपी से हूँ सर.
ओ, वहां से अटेंड कर रहे हैं?
नहीं मैं बैंगलोर में हूँ, बट मैं
बैंगलोर में
यूपी
है.
से हूँ.
ओके, ओके. मंदिर आते हैं?
कभी कभी आती हूँ गुरुजी.
ओके. आया कीजिए कभी कभी मंदिर में, एटलीस्ट महीने में एक बार. जप करते हैं?
थोड़ा मोड़ा.
ओके. डेली एक माला तो जप करना है. ठीक है?
ठीक है.
ओके.
गुरुजी इस्कॉन टेम्पल ना?
हाँ, इस्कॉन टेम्पल राजेश नगर.
राजाजी नगर.
हाँ, राजेश नगर. आप कहाँ पे रहते हैं?
मैं इधर रहती हूँ, यलहंका साइड रहती हूँ.
हाँ, यलहंका मतलब इधर ही राजेश नगर का पास पड़ेगा.
हाँ,
ठीक है. कभी आए तो इधर ही, हम कृष्णाश्रय हमारा ऑफिस है, यहाँ पे मिल भी सकते हैं. इधर ही कृष्णाश्रय बोल के हमारा ऑफिस है इस्कॉन मंदिर में.
ठीक है. ठीक है.
ओके, ठीक है.
हरे
हरे कृष्णा. जप कीजिए, हर दिन जप कीजिए हरे कृष्ण मंत्र का. ठीक है?
हम आएंगे तो आपको जरूर मिलेंगे. आप चाहेंगे मैं आपसे मिलना, क्योंकि मैं प्रॉपर से मैं वो सब मुझे माला जप करने के लिए और उसके लिए मुझे चाहिए.
हाँ, इधर आएंगे तो हाँ, पर्सनली मिलके भी हम गाइड कर सकते हैं.
तो सर आपका नंबर या ऐसे बोलने से मिल जाएंगे आपको? किस दिन आने से मिलेंगे गुरुजी?
वैसे हम एवरीडे यहाँ पे रहते हैं. अगर आप पहले से बताएंगे तो, कभी कभी मीटिंग्स वगैरह रहते हैं, कभी बाहर जाते हैं, तो पहले से बता के आएंगे तो अच्छा रहेगा.
तो पहले से बता के सर नंबर
हाँ,
नहीं है
नंबर.
मेरे पास.
हाँ, नंबर आप नोट कर लीजिए, या फिर मैं इधर चैट 9845
9845
10
10
45
45
11.
11. आपका नाम गुरुजी?
हाँ, प्रदीप्त नरसिम्हदास. प्रदीप्त नरसिम्हदास.
ठीक है.
ठीक है. मंजन्ना विजयनगर मंजन्ना, और फ्रॉम डिफरेंट प्लेस? Manjanna is from which place? Manjula Ramanna. This name also I am not familiar. Okay, so next meeting we will get introduced to other people also. Thank you all for joining today. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada
Thank you,
ki
Prabhu.
jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai Shri.